theswirlworld.com. Podcast episode 121.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.
Today's shout out goes to Waynell Henson of the ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com website and YouTube channel. Waynell has Sunday school down in her heart, and she started a website and a YouTube channel where you can listen to a review of the upcoming Sunday school lesson for that week. ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com is the place where great students hang out. You know that old saying, if you don't know the Bible, you need Sunday school. And if you know the Bible, then Sunday school needs you. Check out Waynell's site at ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com. You can find her on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Again, shout out to Waynell Henson of ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com. And now, let's see what's cooking on today's show. Keep listening.
Hello, and welcome to the Swirl World Podcast, where we celebrate Black women and the diverse men who love us. And I'm your co-host, Adrienne Leach. Today we have a great guest, Angel Fisher, who has started a new career just recently as a credit repair guru. She's going to enlighten us and give us tips on how to repair credit and how to start good credit. You're going to enjoy our conversation, and she's going to tell you about a few people she has met along the way. But most importantly, she never, ever gave up her dreams. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the entrepreneurs, the financiers, the Swirl World Podcast. Hello, Angel. It's nice having you here today on the Swirl World Podcast.
Hi, good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, listen, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about who Angel is.
Well, it's a loaded question.
Oh, okay.
First of all, I live in Houston, Texas, and I am a credit specialist. I've learned that a lot of people just don't know how to repair their credit, how to build credit, and how to restore their credit. So I'm very passionate about it.
Okay, so how did you get into that, Angel?
About a year ago, I was seeking some different opportunities. I'm a retired flight attendant. And so after that world, I had to figure out, what did Angel want to do? This opportunity came to me because I was also looking for help myself. And when I learned about the program, I realized that these are things that people weren't taught growing up. And so I became very passionate about getting the word out.
Okay, so you said something interesting. In addition to being a credit specialist, you were a retired flight attendant. How long were you a flight attendant? What airline was that?
Wow, I started with Continental Express, and so we were props. I used to walk across the jet bridge, tarmac, all the time, and I did that for 18 years.
Wow.
I did, and as you get older, you figure out what you want to do. Even though that was a dream job for me, I just wanted to be at home with my children. And so this is how this came about as well.
Okay, so that was 18 years ago. And so you were a flight attendant. Why don't you tell your audience or our audience a little bit about what that was like, being a Black woman adventuring into this field? It's how it worked for you, why it was a dream of yours, and how you eventually came to get that dream, or I should say, how you eventually came to realize that dream.
Well, you know what? It was funny because I've always been adventurous. I've always traveled, and I've always been able to explore different things. And I was on my way to New York to go visit a boyfriend that was there. And sitting next to a recruiter, I didn't even know it was a recruiter. And we started talking, and she said, how would you like to come in for an interview? And I was like, oh, I'm too short. I'm 4'11". And she's like, no, you're not. Went in for the interview, and I have just been traveling the world ever since. It's been very, very awesome. I think as long as you command a room and as long as you have respect for yourself, it really doesn't matter what color you are per se, because people are going to perceive what they see of you upon first impression.
Right.
And so traveling the world to me was awesome.
So you're now you're but by the way, you're 4'11", but let me say, one of the most famous people in history that ruled over, at that time, the largest empire was also 4'11", and that was Queen Victoria.
Yes, she was.
So, but still 4'11", and you do think, because I think the image is, or at least when I was growing up, if a flight attendant had to look a certain way, and part of their look was model look, and part of that is height. So that, and I think there was a height requirement before things began to change, and it was more of a service thing. Because, see, I always used to, when I was growing up, I thought flight attendants were really just there trying to find a rich husband. That was always my, that was always the way I looked at it. But, of course, times and things change. So, okay. So now you did this for 18 years, and you said that what pushed you or prompted you towards credit repair? Was there something that went on? Now, you don't have to give us any major details, but was there something that went on that made you decide, okay, I'm going to end this career and I'm going to start this one? But you mentioned something about you needed it yourself, and we all need it. Let's not fool ourselves.
Right.
But
life happens.
Okay.
Yes. Life happens. As you grow older, things change, bills change, and things happen to where a certain lifestyle you would think would be able to support those things. And I realized a long time ago that I would just be a number for the whole time I was in that career. And I wanted to take initiative to be my own boss, run my own empire, and also show people how to do it for themselves.
Okay. Now, how long have you been doing credit repair?
I've been doing credit repair since January.
Okay.
And in order to be a credit repair specialist, you have to become a client yourself. And so when I started seeing all the wonderful things that are happening for me, I realized, okay, you know what? I can make a career out of this.
All right. Now, were you doing something with this type of credit monitoring or credit managing or financial managing prior to the starting in January?
No, I was not, but I've always been aware. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of wonderful mentors in my life. And I do remember one particular person who always said, Angel, you've got to take care of you. You got to look out for you and your family and your family's investments. And so with that being said, I wanted to protect all the things that I have had and keep them in place. And in order to do that, I had to learn how to manage my credit, how to build my credit, and how to restore.
Now, here's a question. Now, one of the things is I understand about having good credit because it allows you the ability, if and when you need to borrow, that it gives a picture to whomever it is you're asking. Okay, they're credit worthy. That's essentially what they're saying. They are credit worthy. Their chances of paying it back are good. I get that. But when I think of credit, and this is a chance to educate me, I think of debt. So before you can be credit worthy, don't you have to manage the money that you have? Or should you not be managing money? I mean, could you kind of elaborate on us how the two of them work?
It all goes together. You know, when you're younger, you get all these credit cards because you think it's easy. You think you're going to be able to maintain it. And if you only make $12,000 a year and you go get $30,000 in credit card debt, you better learn how to get out of that debt.
Right.
And, you know, when you charge your credit cards up to the max, that doesn't show creditworthy to the credit companies. It just shows that you need the money right then, and so you're going to use it. And so what I show all of my clients is that when you get a credit card, you get a credit card limit. You want to make sure you only charge a third of that amount, and you want to pay it off the next month. That helps build your credit. It helps restore your credit. And not only that, it raises your credit score.
Okay, so one of the tips is if you say you're telling someone, especially if they're young,
but that doesn't seem to make any difference these days. But okay, if they're young and that they're starting out and they have their first credit card, okay. Now, let's say the limit is $1,000. So you would probably advise them, listen, okay, if you're going to use this credit card, don't spend about what? 200 or something, or if you're going to use it. But I think I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, don't charge anything you can't pay off to a zero balance.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Don't do it. So if you're going to charge your groceries, pay it off. If you're going to do gas, do that. That way, in the event of an emergency, if you do have to charge that card up, you have the open amount to do it, and you're okay with paying your minimum balance. But every month, if you use your whole $300, it's not showing the banks that you're credit worthy.
Okay. So now, and also, Angel, I've always understood credit cards to be, I think people see them differently. They're not free money. It's short-term loans, right? Is that what they consider them? Okay, and there's some people. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying some people do, realize, okay, so I got a $10,000 limit on the credit card. This is an extra income for me. No, it's not used for that. It's only to be used for emergencies.
Okay.
And you shouldn't charge something that you can't pay for.
Okay, that's part of the problem. What advice do you have for people in regards to, okay, they're building up their credit or they're repairing it, and they also want to invest and save money? What advice do you have about how much should they be saving each month? What type of investments, especially if they're starting out, they should be looking at? What advice would you give them for that?
Well, you know what? I have a 24-year-old, and so my advice to her was, put away 20% of your paycheck each month. And I've been telling her this since she was 18.
Okay.
And 20% of her paycheck, and she just looked at it 5 years ago, gave her so much extra money, she was able to put a nice down payment down on a car.
Wow.
I tell, even with her, get something that you can afford. If you make $2,000 a month, okay, you don't want your bills to be $2,000 a month. You want to live off of half of that income. And I know it's hard, but if you want to save and if you want to stretch your money, these are the sacrifices that you have to do in order to do that.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'm old school in the sense that I grew up with a father and a mother that were born and raised during the Depression era. They didn't believe in any kind of debt, and they would say, if you make $1 million and you spend $1,001, you are in debt. They didn't like that at all. So I have that mindset where, you're supposed to pay your bills. You should pay them off. And if you can't afford it, then you don't buy it. But you said something interesting that I loved. I think that it would be great to expound on. One of the things that most people buy immediately is a car. Mm-hmm. A lot of our kids are IT specialists and stuff, and they have really good salaries. And they'll buy this beautiful, expensive car. And I was telling my son, I said, no, see, when you buy the car and you make the car payment, you have to also pay insurance. You have to pay for maintenance. I mean, the cost of the car, buying the car is not the cost of the car. It's a big deal. Oh, he looked at me like I was nuts, but it's a big deal.
No, that's
because,
true.
When you're helping people, now, do you do one-on-one, or is it just for credit repair, or do you do financial counseling in regards to helping people set up their finances? Do you help people set up first budgets, or is it strictly just helping them get out of financial debts or things like that?
Well, I do consultations. I have a program. It's called a financial education service. My program, when people sign up with me, not only do they get credit repair, they also get a credit attorney. Okay. I have a program called Debt Zero, to where they can put all the debts in, and it does like a financial analysis. If you put your car note in, it's at 60 months. If you want to pay it off in 30 months, this program will tell you exactly how much more you need to pay in order to pay that off. And you'd be surprised what $30 or $40 extra would do to pay off a car loan.
Sure.
Not only that, I have a credit monitoring system. And when they join the credit monitoring system, they can update their credit score every day if they want to. And it's not a hard pull, and it's not a soft pull. So it doesn't affect their credit report.
Okay.
I'm working closely. I've been very, very blessed recently to work with a couple of mortgage companies, title companies, and lots of real estate agents. And when they have a credit problem, they call me, and all three of us get together, we consult, and we've been helping people get into new homes pretty fast. So it all works out all together, all one thing. I also have a program if someone's renting a house or an apartment, I can put on their credit as a positive trade line. Because a lot of people don't know you need 3 positive trade lines in order to get a house.
Oh, that's
the bank is not going to finance you.
Okay.
The bank is not going to finance you if you don't have any credit worthiness.
Okay, and so when you say 3 positive trade lines, and I'm uncertain as to what that means, could you explain that to me?
Sure. You need 3 positive trade lines of credit, whether it's your house, whether it's your car, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a bank installment loan. But all of these things need to be positive and paid on time.
Okay. Do they ever make an exception? Like if they're working with someone like you, will the bank say, okay, you have like 2 positive but 1 negative, and they're working with you, so does that make a difference?
It really just depends. Okay, so most of the time when you do debt consolidation or you do like another type of credit company, it puts on your credit that you are working on your credit.
Okay.
With my company, it doesn't do that. So that's the good thing about it, because when you're ready to go. I can call your loan officer or your real estate agent and say, hey, this person is ready. And it's not a ding for them to where they don't have to wait a certain amount of time. I've seen people that have established credit with only a couple trade lines get into a home. Mm-hmm. But if you've got new credit, they're really not going to give it to you until you have some positive trade lines to prove that you can get a home loan.
I was going to ask you something because you made a comment earlier that was very interesting to me. So in establishing your trade line, I guess what I wanted to know is, and this is what I was thinking about when you were talking, what would be the worst scenario for you to have to deal with someone in order for them to get into a house? How long would it take them in a worst case scenario?
Everybody's credit is different. I mean, it just really depends on the things that you've done and the things that are on there. So I've had customers with judgments, liens, foreclosures, medical bills over $500,000. And it really just depends on how diligent each person is with sending in their letters, because you do have to send in letters every 30 to 45 days, getting those responses back to me so I can report them to the credit company. If you're a lackadaisical person, it's not going to work for you.
Okay.
But the whole process is so you'll learn how to keep up with this, and you'll keep it going for the future. And you can share it with your children, and they can share it with their children.
Okay. Now, and I heard you say earlier that you have a 24-year-old daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
That's wonderful. And you have other children? I think I heard you say children.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a 15-year-old daughter as well.
Okay.
Yes, both of my children are 9 years apart.
Oh, well, that's fine. I was just wondering, now with a 24-year-old, and because it's mom giving her advice, you know how kids are. You know how they are when parents give them advice, even though we're correct. How is that working? Because I heard you say that she had saved enough to do a nice down payment on a car, and you explained to her, get something you can afford. What other advice have you been able to give your 15-year-old that you can see she's beginning to take?
With my 15-year-old, I took a totally different approach because each child is different.
Okay.
The 15-year-old, I have her working. She works once a month. She has her own checking account and her own savings account. And she watches her pennies to the T. Yes, she is. And I guess from listening to myself and, her sister, she's already got her savings. Each time she gets paid, she puts that money away. And not only that, both of my children have seen me struggle, because before I can show someone else or teach someone else, I feel like I had to go through it myself. And so they really, really respect the fact that mom didn't have a job for a while. Mom had to figure out her own way, and mother had to start something else in order to build an income. So, they're both excited, and they listen to everything I say, thank God. But, I think that practice makes perfect.
Well, that's great. That is very positive to hear, and I'm sure will be encouraging to our audience. In your 18 years, what celebrities have you seen on your flights?
Oh my gosh, Sean Penn, LL Cool J.
Well, you know I have to ask.
Yes.
I know that you have to be professional, and I understand that. But I'm just curious about Sean Penn. Was he like nice, or was he just?
Oh, he was very, very nice. He said my voice was calming. I also had Craig T. Nelson on, and he tried to get me to do voiceovers. And you know what? I hate that. I passed up that opportunity. I can remember, way back when I used to do the props, Master P, if you remember him.
Right. And of course, everybody knows LL Cool J. Yes.
Yes. And, just sitting in the airport sometimes, I was able to meet a lot of different people. Luther Vandross. I mean, he told me I was cute. And I just thought I was the best thing, since apple pie.
That's all it takes.
Yes.
It takes one of them to tell you that. So that's sure. I absolutely agree with him, though. I've seen your photos and things like that, so I have to agree with Luther. I think he was right.
Thank you.
I do. I really do.
Thank you.
That was interesting. So much so, but I'm more impressed with the fact that you determined that, okay, I can't and I don't want to do this forever, and I want to be my own person. So my more serious question is, you've explained to us why you decided to go this route, and it's obvious you have a gift and a talent for it. What advice would you give the Nationers in regards to if they have a goal or they have a dream and they haven't quite realized it yet? Because keeping in mind, you did your flight attendant work for 18 years before you even started this. So what advice would you give to the Nationers in regards to pursue their goals or their dreams?
Well, you know what? I've always been a very passionate person, and I'm always the motivator for all my friends. And I always tell people, when I was younger, people would say, oh, you're too little for that, oh, you're too short for that, or you can't do this, or you can't be a cheerleader. And my thing was to them, I can be whatever I want to be, and I'll do what I want to do. And never let someone tell you that you can't do it. Because, I have faith, and I believe, and there are things in life that you just have to reach for. If you fail, it's okay. Try something else. And once you find your passion and you know what your passion is, it'll thrive inside of you, and you'll just keep going, and people can see it all over your face.
Wow, that is excellent, excellent advice. Now, Angel, I don't want you to leave before you once again tell us the names of your business and also give us where we can actually be reached, where the Nationers can reach you, be it Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. Please take the floor and give us that information.
Okay, sure. I can be reached. I have a website. It's www.creditdeliverance911.com. My Facebook page, I'm Angel Fisher. Request me. I'm always friending everybody. I do have a page for my business, Credit Deliverance 911, on Facebook. Also, I have an app, and you can download it on iTunes and also the Google, and it's Credit Deliverance 911, and there's a little gentleman on there that looks like a doctor, and you'll see the app on there. Also, I have an 800 number. It's 1-888-983-7048, and you can reach me anytime.
Now,
I'm available.
For numbers, repeat it one more time.
Sure. 1-888-983-7048.
Okay. And they can reach you there or leave a message or anything like that?
Yes. Okay. I do have an operator, and they can leave messages, and also they can email me from my app or from the website.
Okay. So this is pretty nationwide, because you did say that you were in Houston, correct? You can help a person from wherever.
Yes, I can. Okay. Anywhere in the United States. Anyone can join the program, and I'm willing to help.
Okay. Now, do you have a Twitter handle?
You know what? I don't have a Twitter handle just yet. I need to do that. But when I do tweet, I tweet from Angel S125, and that's my personal Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Angel. It has been quite enjoyable talking with you. Thank you for the wonderful advice. I continue to wish you much success and many blessings on your business. I just hope it continues to grow and explode. I just want you to do very well, and I greatly appreciate you being a part of our podcast today.
Thank you to the Swirl World.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to like the Swirl World on Facebook and subscribe to the blog at theswirlworld.com.
Head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast or listen directly from our Facebook page.
We can also be heard on SoundCloud and Stitcher Radio.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.